Okay, so for replication, we have string original equals the hello as a string, and then we can declare the count variable as an int, and we can say int count equals 3, and we're going to be replicating it 3 times. So we say string repeated equals original dot repeat count, and then we can say system out print line original string plus original. Okay, and then we can say string out print line repeated string count plus 3 times plus repeated. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it in the PowerPoint so you have it. And I'm going to go ahead and erase all this, so hopefully you'll remember the difference between concatenation and summation. All right. And then finally, we have some samples right here. We have, system out print line, hello world, hello again. We have more typing here. And just so you know, I put this as a purposeful misspell because I did want to communicate to everyone that whatever you put between the two quotes right here will be printed on the screen, irregardless of, whether it's a misspell or it is correct. It's gonna presume you know what you're doing. Kind of like if you wrote an accounting program and you were using the tax tables from 2 years ago and they were inaccurate, it's still going to calculate it because you're the one that put in the tables. It can't, it can't check your work for you. And it is very possible that you intended to misspell this word. Let's say, for example, you were writing prose and you were trying to emulate actual human speech. Humans, they swear, they misspell things, they missay things all the time. Okay? Samuel Clemens, also known as Mark Twain, was highly noted for the use of swear words in his text, but it was very, very real. It was something that he grew up with. Okay? And then finally, we can see, I'd like to say hello. Now we can see hello is in single quotes. So it really doesn't matter what you put inside the double quotes. It's going to run whatever you put in. Hello there. That is initially you would see that is a type of string formatting. And however, if you say hello there with 2 backward slashes, it will ignore this and just simply type out hello backwards slash there. However, if you only wanted to use 1 backward slash, then it would do the tab. But we'll talk more about string formatting when we get to probably next week. We have string A equals I, B equals learn, C equals Java. So we have print line A plus B plus C. So we have int A equals 2. String B equals 2. So we say X equals AA plus AA. So if we wanted to run that, you could see exactly what it will print out. Here's something else. Here we have the category BMI. We have underweight less than 18.5, and then normal weight is between 18.5 and 25. So we have mass. We have the formula mass over height multiplied by height squared. And so in this case, if mass is 90 and height is the square of, or 1.90 squared, it will then calculate your BMI by dividing mass over height squared, and then it will determine your BMI right here. You notice we have to use double as opposed to int. Double is like a fraction. Now we will kind of cover the variable types in more detail next week. Okay, and our last thing we're going to go over is the net operating income. So this calculates, so this is an example of, automation. So we can actually create a formula for calculating net operating income. So if you're, for those of you that operate rentals or something like that, the net operating income is revenue of $1,300 monthly rent. You're getting $1,300 monthly rent. However, your first expense is your taxes, which the landlord must pay $3,000 in taxes yearly, which is quite low. 400 monthly utilities and a special assessment from the neighborhood. Could be for streetlights or whatever. Now, what we're going this is a cat of this Java program. Cat is a way you can just print the entire program. It's a type of streaming. Here, 1 second. So if we were to cat this program right here, we can see that it just prints out the entire, it streams, you could say streams the entire program. Okay, so anyways, as I said, we call the class net operating income, or NOI, and then here's our public static void main, and here we declare the rent as $1,300, the utilities are $400, the special assessment is $400. Now, what do we do with the $3,000 in yearly taxes? We can actually amortize that monthly, so we can divide the 3,000 into 12, and notice we use a float, which is, a type of fraction as well, like double, but we just decided to use float here. And notice we have to keep the type consistent as we drag it down here because we're dealing with floats and integers. So if you have to decide which of the two, you always choose the most precise. Now, obviously, float is going to be more precise than integer because integer has nothing after the decimal point. So, float monthly amortized taxes is going to be 3,000 over 12. And then finally, net operating income equals rent minus all of your expenses. So rent is the only money that's coming in. What's going out is utilities, the special assessment, monthly amortized taxes, and then I just added this 100 as incidentals. One of your maybe one of your tenants puts a hole through the wall. Maybe there's the thermostat needs to be replaced. Something you need to call a plumber to fix a leaky faucet or something like that. And then finally we have you make and then the net income per month. Okay, so this gives you some idea of what you can do with Java.